Hi guys, can I ask a question? Why is Piers Morgan on Newsnight to talk about Ukraine? Is he some sort of military expert? Does he know what's happening in that country? Or is he there just because he's a fan of Donald Trump and Donald Trump is at the center of all of this? So have a listen to what he had to say about the US president and why he should be given a chance. Have a listen.
To all of it, Russia is basically saying, we're not interested. They would. That's their negotiating place. But I think they are probably quietly keen to end this too. And I would say to people who still want to have a go at Trump about this, at least he's trying. He's trying to bring this to an end. I don't see a better offer. And remember, this war raged under Joe Biden's administration, and there was certainly no danger of any peace plan in that period. So I say, let's give this a chance. In the end, it will be Ukraine's decision, right, as to whether they want to end this or not. I think they are desperate. The people of Ukraine, the polls have moved so far now. The people want this over. They've had too much slaughter. So I think, look, I've got hope, but cynicism about Russia and their willingness to do a deal. But if Trump can get this sorted and get a deal done, in the end, I'm afraid Russia will be rewarded for its invasion. That is inevitable. They are going to keep.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So first of all, let's talk about Ukraine. So it seems that this deal, if you want to call it that, was originally written in Russian and then translated into English. So it was this deal that Donald Trump is claiming that he wrote, or his administration wrote, carried over Russian syntax, and this is something that Russian language experts have pointed out. Isn't that curious? Why would a deal written in English by the Trump administration have Russian syntax in it? Now, obviously, when Piers Morgan says that the Russians are not fully on board, well, that doesn't make much sense. If they wrote the frigging deal, obviously and if you look at the deal, it rewards Russia and it punishes Ukraine. Why would a deal that's good for Ukraine punish that country when it was the one that was invaded? Now, when it comes to Donald Trump, and I've said this before, and I hate to be proven correct on every occasion, when it came to Gaza and Israel, what happened and what I predicted what would happen, the ceasefire would collapse if the Trump administration had not been there, someone on the ground to enforce that ceasefire, to pressure Israel to respect the conditions and to work with Arab nations to pressure Hamas to maintain their ceasefire. And what have we seen? It's fallen apart. It fell apart while the ink was still drying. All Donald Trump wanted, and I said this at the time, all he wanted was his photo opportunity, to be there, to be seen as the man of peace. I have delivered peace in the Middle East. You know, if you look at US media, they're not talking about Israel and Gaza anymore. For the American public, they probably think the ceasefire has been maintained, but it's fallen apart. So, of course, Ukraine is looking at this and realizing that Donald Trump is not a reliable partner. He's talking about having some sort of security guarantees for Ukraine. But as we've seen with Donald Trump, they're not worth anything. All Donald Trump wants is to go to Kiev. He wants to go to Moscow and get his photo opportunity, sign some sort of deal, be called the man of peace once again, and then feck off. Because that's what he's going to do. And then what will happen to Ukraine? Well, they will call for these security guarantees and they'll receive nothing in return. The Trump administration is not going to enforce this in the same way as they didn't enforce the ceasefire in Israel and Gaza. So Russia realized that Donald Trump is completely useless for the West. He's completely unreliable for Ukraine. So they're playing him. They've basically given him their deal, to enforce upon Ukraine. And the fact that Piers Morgan is saying, the Russians are cynical or the Russians may not be happy with this is for the birds. The Russians wrote this deal. It's more favorable to them, if you look at it, than to Ukraine. But we have to give Donald Trump a chance. We gave Donald Trump a chance when it came to Israel and Gaza, and he walked away from that. He abandoned the Middle East. So we now have to give him another chance so that he can do a deal that's more favorable to Russia than Ukraine. And then what will he do? He'll walk away again. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think, and I'll see you in the next video.